When you're standing in front of a pair of floor-standing speakers for the first time, it's easy to feel a little unsure. Is the price justified? Will they really fill my living room with the kind of sound I've been dreaming about? Or am I just buying a piece of furniture that looks great but falls short in everyday listening? That hesitation is what I wanted to clear up today. I've spent the past few weeks listening to the Focal Vestia No3 Slender 3-way floorstanders in a mix of movie nights, vinyl sessions, and casual streaming, and I'm going to walk you through the practical side of owning them, the moments they truly shine, and the spots where they might leave you wanting more. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the room you're planning to put these in. The Vestia No3 has a relatively slim footprint for a floor-standing. The slender moniker isn't just marketing fluff. In my 12-foot rectangular living room, the speakers slip nicely against the side walls without crowding the space, which is a relief if you're juggling a TV stand, a bookshelf, and a coffee table. The built-in tilted stands help aim the tweeters toward ear level when the speakers sit on a carpet, reducing the need for a separate speaker stand kit. That design choice matters because many high-end floor-standers demand a dedicated platform or a very specific toe and angle to get the best imaging, and that can add hidden cost and hassle. From a setup perspective, you'll need a decent amp or AV receiver that can comfortably drive a 8-ohm, 150-watt per speaker load. The Vestas aren't particularly demanding, but they do benefit from a clean power source. I paired them with a 600-watt Class D receiver that offers separate bass management, and the connection was as simple as running a pair of speaker cables from the rear terminals. No tricky biamping or external crossover needed. The 3-way internal crossover does the heavy lifting, which is a plus if you're not looking to tinker with advanced wiring. Now, the first thing you notice after the power-up is the bass. Focal's slate fiber woofer, combined with the PowerFlow venting system, produces a punch that feels more room-filling than boomy. On a Hollywood action sequence, the low end doesn't just rattle the floor, it adds weight without muddying the mids. That's where the high-impact bass claim holds up in a practical sense. You get that cinematic thump in a living room environment without needing a subwoofer to fill the gap. If you watch a lot of movies or enjoy electronic music with deep sub-elements, you'll appreciate that foundation. The mids and highs are where the shaped inverted dome tweeter and the urethane waveguide come into play. In a vocal-centric jazz record, the vocalist's timbre sits right in front of you, and the surrounding instruments stay distinct. The waveguide helps keep the soundstage wide but still cohesive, so you don't feel like the instruments are scattered across the room. For hi-fi listeners who value precise imaging, that clarity translates into an easier decision when you're trying to locate a single instrument in a complex mix. The violin in a string quartet, for example, stays anchored while the cello remains grounded. One practical strength that's easy to overlook is how the speakers handle everyday volume changes. I'm a fan of watching TV at a moderate level and then cranking the volume for a music listening session. The Vestia No3 stays controlled, the tweeters don't scream, and the woofer stays tight. That stability is a product of the internal damping and the balanced cabinet design, which means you won't be forced to keep the volume at a safe level to avoid harshness. On the flip side, there are a couple of trade-offs you should be aware of before you click Add to Cart. First, the speakers are on the heavier side. Each unit tips the scales at around 30 kilograms, about 66 pounds, so moving them once they're placed on the floor can be a bit of a workout. If you rent frequently or anticipate rearranging furniture often, you might need a dolly or extra hands, something that isn't obvious from the spec sheet but shows up in real-world use. Second, the bass, while impactful, is still anchored to the floor. In a room with a thin carpet or a concrete surface, the low end can feel a little tighter than you might expect from a big floor standing. I tried placing them on a thin rug in a bedroom, and the punch was there but lacked the same depth I got on the carpeted living room floor. For those who live in apartments with hardwood floors, a separate subwoofer might still be a worthwhile addition if you want that deep, rumbling feel. Who should consider these speakers? If you're a movie enthusiast who wants a more immersive home cinema experience without adding a dedicated sub, the Vestia No3 gives you that extra thrust. If you already own a decent stereo amp and are looking to step up from bookshelf speakers, The three-way design offers a clear jump in imaging and detail, especially for vocal-heavy music like folk, acoustic, or